Welcome to A Good Walk Spoiled, Adventures in Golf, hosted by Scott Ponywaz, also known as @Pony Golf. Hello and welcome back to another episode of A Good Walk Spoiled. I'm Scott Ponywaz. I'm excited to be with you today. Today is a interesting episode about Mr. Donald Ross. So today we're going to uncover some of the stories and legacies of one of golf's most influential figures in the golf architecture space. Donald Ross was born in 1872 in Dornoch, Scotland, and is pretty wildly regarded as one of the most prolific as well as influential golf architects of all time. His impact on the game extends far beyond his designs, and it's a testament to his innovative vision and deep understanding of the sport of golf. His career has spanned over 5 decades. He's unfortunately no longer with us. But during those 5 decades, he designed and renovated more than 400 golf courses across the United States. And those designs range from iconic championship venues to some of the most beloved local tracks in the country. Namely, some famous courses such as Pinehurst number 2, Seminole Golf Club, Oak Hill Country Club, and Oakland Hills Country Club, to name a few. Pinehurst number 2, host of U.S. Opens, including future U.S. Opens, and there's even a Donald Ross Historical Society and museum dedicated to his life's work and golf courses, which is in the Pinehurst area. So he had some signature design styles. And so what set Donald Ross apart was his unique design philosophy and signature styles that left an indelible mark on the golfing landscape. Ross's courses were often characterized by a few quite key features, one of which was strategic bunkering. So Ross was a master at strategically placing bunkers to challenge players of all skill levels, and his bunkers were often placed strategically along fairways and around greens, which would force golfers to carefully consider their shot, including its placement, as well as the approach strategy for a golfer. The second one, especially when we look at a place like Pinehurst, is the undulating terrain. Ross embraced the natural contours of the land, incorporating rolling terrain and subtle elevation changes into his designs. This not only created some interesting visual plays on the golf course, but which especially before the use of rangefinders and GPS and things like that allow you to sort of see the hole. A lot of that created some unique playing challenges and sight of line challenges for many golfers. Number 3, the small sloping greens, and this includes the turtleback greens that Pinehurst number 2 is famous for. And to be perfectly honest, those greens are not easy ones to manage. So one of his trademarks was his small undulating greens, which demanded precision and finesse from golfers on approach shots and putting. These greens feature subtle slopes and breaks, requiring players to read the terrain carefully in order to navigate them successfully. And especially with some of his turtleback greens, the the fall off and sort of that raised style of greens also makes them very challenging to chip onto, especially when they're playing fast in, say, like a US Open type of scenario. Makes it very hard to put a wedge up, stick it, and then have it hold the green without potentially running past the hole and running off the other side of the green. So Donald Ross, used his greens quite diabolically. So his legacy, his influence can be seen on golf courses around the world, and his design principles continue to shape the way architects approach craft, emphasizing the importance of that strategic playability, the aesthetic appeal, even some of the environmental sustainability. Moreover, Ross's commitment to preserving that natural beauty of the land serves as a timeless reminder of the importance of stewardship in golf design throughout time, and including many of the courses today. So as we reflect on this legacy, he's just legitimately one of the world's most extraordinary designers, and his designs have not only stood the test of time, but have also enriched the game by providing both golfers as well as viewers of, many of the courses that have played host to tournaments that he's designed, giving a challenging and rewarding and entertaining backdrop to many of golf's most historic events, including Payne Stewart's famous win, and that particular win was the 1999 US Open. So that concludes our segment on Donald Ross today, and I hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned for our next segment. And welcome back to the second part of today's episode. We're going to continue on with the theme of Donald Ross and his golf course architecture. So for this segment, I was able to compile, I'm having a tough time speaking today, compile a handful of facts about Donald Ross. Many of these hopefully are lesser known to those of you that might already know quite a bit about Donald Ross, but here are a handful of facts. First one, early years in Scotland. So before becoming a prominent golf course architect in the United States, Ross actually served as an apprentice to old Tom Morris at the historic St. Andrew's Golf Club in Scotland. So the second one, his immigration to America. So Ross immigrated to the U.S. in 1899 at an age of 26, and he initially found work as a golf professional at Oakley Country Club in Massachusetts. Third one, which actually surprised me, I don't know how I didn't know this one, he actually had a US Open victory. So in 1907, Ross won the US Open Interlaking Country Club in Minnesota, and showcased his skill as a golfer, which many, like myself, I think didn't realize, as most knew him as a golf course designer. So his military service. So during World War I, Donald Ross actually served in the United States Army, where he was tasked with designing and constructing golf courses for military personnel that were stationed in France. During the war, people still needed to golf. Number 5, this one's maybe a little more widely known, but his connection to Pinehurst. So Ross's most famous design was Pinehurst number 2, and it was commissioned by the founder of Pinehurst Resort, James W. Tufts. Ross worked closely with Tufts to create a masterpiece that would become one of the most revered golf courses in the world. Like I mentioned in the first part, Pinehurst number 2 also played host to several U.S. Opens, probably one of his most well-known masterpieces in golf, and by no means an easy one. Golf course renovations. So while Ross is best known for his original designs, he also completed numerous renovations and redesigns throughout his career, including work on iconic courses like Oak Hill Country Club as well as Inverness Club. His design collaborations. So most people sort of consider Ross as a solo architect, but occasionally he would actually collaborate with other designers and architects on certain projects. One of those notable ones was Baltimore Country Club's East Course, and that particular example was a partnership that he did with A.W. Tillinghast. Perhaps Tillinghast will be a subject of future episodes here. But yeah, so Donald Ross and A.W. Tillinghast actually combined forces on the Baltimore Country Club's East Course. Innovation in course construction. So Ross was actually an early adopter of a lot of modern construction techniques, and he pioneered the use of irrigation systems, sand-based greens, and drainage methods to enhance the playability and maintenance of his courses. A lot of those designs have since been modernized, but he had quite a bit that he was innovative in on the course construction. So next one, authorship. So in addition to his work as a designer, Ross was also an accomplished writer, and he actually penned several articles and golf books on golf course architecture, as you might imagine, as well as design principles. His writings and libraries continue to be studied and revered by golf enthusiasts and architects alike. I know, like as an example, Tom Doak, a lot of inspiration when doing the new Pinehurst courses and renovations and things like that. His legacy and influence. So while he passed away in 1948, his legacy lives on through the over 400 golf courses that he's designed and renovated. His impact on the game of golf and golf architecture remains profound, and with many of his courses still hosting major championships and inspiring generations of golfers. Hopefully this little collection of lesser known facts is interesting to you. Feel free to comment or shoot me a DM and let me know who we should cover next as far as golf architects are concerned. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode, and stay tuned for the next segment, which is our Chips, Bites, and Flights segment, which will be taking us to none other than Pinehurst Resort. Hey, and today, thanks to Galway Bay, I am reviewing their new Renville rain jacket, which is super high quality, super high performance. They've got this great low profile neck, seam sealed for waterproof and extra windproof. The other thing too is it's got this great performance stretch fabric. They've got even all these little nice features like the waist cinch, also this great wrist enclosure, keep it tight around your golf hands. The other thing too is great zippers, waterproof pockets, including a nice little scorecard pocket here that's waterproof as well. Nice little added touch. The other thing too is it's a nice, light, soft, stretchy fabric, so easy to wear. I've been able to test it around Montana this spring. While the golf courses might not be open, I've had it out in a little bit of snow, sleet, rain, and been able to wear test it. And I can definitely attest the waterproofness of it. Also, nice, sleek style. So, with the golf swing, most importantly, it's not going to inhibit that swing. So, have had a great chance to test it out. Highly recommend it if you want to get your own rain gear, either this jacket or others from Galway Bay. Be sure to use my link in my bio, or you can just use Pony Golf 15. That's PonyGolf15 and save 15% on your purchases over at GalwayBayGolf.com. Welcome back to A Good Walk Spoiled. For our final segment of today's episode, we're going to take you on a little chips, bites, and flights journey to none other than Donald Ross's stomping grounds of Pinehurst Resort. Nestled amidst the rolling sandhills of North Carolina lies Pinehurst Resort. It's essentially golfer's Disney World. And it is a golfing paradise that's just steeped in history and tradition. Founded in 1895 by James W. Tufts, Pinehurst has evolved into one of the most premier golf destinations in the world, with now 10 championship golf courses, luxurious accommodations, and some great dining options. It's basically a just world-class community of golf courses. Each offers unique and unforgettable experiences for golfers of all skill levels. But Pinehurst number 2, which we've discussed already this episode, designed by legendary Donald Ross, is probably the crown jewel of the resort, and it's hosted numerous prestigious events, including the U.S. Open, challenging greens, strategic layout. It's just a must play on the bucket list of any golfer. Number 2, I had the opportunity to play during the Amateur Players Tour National Championship several years ago. Just a phenomenal course. So I had actually played number 1 and number 6 as part of the tournament, and then qualified and made the cut to play my final round on number 2. Let's just say it was not my best round of golf ever. I think it honestly is, in the last 8-10 years, the only time I've shot in the 90s. Just an incredibly difficult challenge. I went from, I think, being top 5 or so, going into the final round, to sliding to, I don't know, very far down. It was a very rough challenge. I also just wasn't hitting greens, and then those that have played Pinehurst number 2 know that if you haven't hit the green, chipping around the greens can be just the most frustrating thing ever. There are many holes, including, I believe it's number 8, par 5. I basically was about 6 inches from holding the green in 2. Second shot in was, I don't know, maybe a 4 or 5 iron, and it just slowly trickled off the back. And then those that have played, it's, I would say, I don't know, 15, 20 foot raised green. I then couldn't chip to hold the green to get the ball back up onto the green, and then I also was trying to putt it up, and then it would just basically just come short and then trickle back down to my feet. It was a very frustrating round of golf. Definitely a good walk spoiled, was the name of the game on Pinehurst number 2. That aside, I mean, the experience alone was phenomenal. That course is just an incredible golf course design. Definitely a must play. Should be on your bucket list if you haven't already played it. Aside from number 2, the other 9 courses, and then also there is the short course as well that they do have. But with the other courses, number 4 recently renovated, and actually it was quite interesting. I think when I was there, it was the first year that it had actually been open post renovation. Number 4, many people today now say that it's almost better than number 2. There's actually a lot of the Pinehurst locals and members, they actually prefer to play number 4 versus number 2, which I also found quite interesting. And that reminds me of one little tip as well for number 2. A lot of people will use the practice green over at number 2 to practice putting and everything like that. The locals and the members tip is actually use the chipping green for a better understanding of the true roll and speed of the greens on Pinehurst number 2. So when you are warming up to play number 2, use the chipping green versus their actual putting green for the warm-ups there. Most recent addition to Pinehurst, which is also another reason why I wanted to call out Pinehurst today, is the fresh of the new Pinehurst number 2, Pinehurst number 10, and so it's their first new course in over 3 decades, and it is a Tom Doak design. Features a lot of native wiregrass, sweeping landscape, and rolling hills. And it also has some rugged dunes that are carved out by mining operations that happened around the turn of the 20th century. There's, this just spectacular new course now that makes its way through the sandhills. And I haven't had a chance to play it yet. So I think if you have, it'd be great to have you on board. I love the logo, that sort of that homage to the sand mines and the trolley. So if you have had a chance to play it, I'd love to have you on as a guest and hear your takes on it. Share those insights with the rest of us. So highly recommend trying to get on number 10 if you can, and sharing your experience with us. So golf aside, no secret, it's world-class resort, but also world-class accommodations. Like I said before, it's sort of like a Disney World for golfers. If you're going to stay there, try to stay at the Carolina Hotel. Built in 1901, it's just a historic landmark and centerpiece of Pinehurst Resort. Definitely has that southern charm, and with the renovations, the rooms are just top-notch. Huge bathrooms, actually. I was quite surprised by. But the rooms themselves at the Carolina Hotel, fantastic. Just unforgettable stay. The walls of the property also feature a lot of historic images and sketches and Donald Ross portraits and things along those lines. If you can't stay at the Carolina Hotel, Howley Inn, nestled in the heart of Pinehurst Village is a sort of old world charm and Southern hospitality kind of place. Rooms and suites are also great. And then, of course, if you need a little more room, they've got plenty of cottages and villas that allow for a more private or intimate experience. And those are scattered throughout the resort grounds. So, you're just steps away, depending on which courses you're trying to play, as well as the dining options. So from fine dining to casual fare, plenty of different options that you have access to. The more formal experience is the Carolina dining room in the Carolina Hotel. I didn't actually have a chance to eat there. I didn't have time, and I didn't have a reservation during my golf tournament there. But expertly crafted dishes, fresh local ingredients, classic Southern favorites, and some modern twists, and it's pretty elegant, upscale. I think even jackets are required in the dining room. The Ryder Cup Lounge, it's in honor of the Ryder Cup matches. It's got a little bit more of a relaxed atmosphere, almost like clubhouse-ish, casual type of setting. Menu of gourmet sort of pub fare and cocktails and wines, and just a casual place to grab dinner, burgers, all that kind of stuff, steaks. And then last but not least, the Deuce. This is the one that's basically sitting off the back of the 18th green at Pinehurst number 2. Grab a bite, sit, watch people coming in. Just overlooks the 18th, which is great, and the Payne Stewart famous fist pump statue. So there you can grab pretty casual food and sandwiches, salads, beers, cocktails, and it also, I'm pretty sure it's every single night has a prime rib special, if not most nights out of the week. So the prime rib, I think, if I remember, it was, at least at the time that I was there, I think it was only like $25 or $30. So also a great meal deal to grab at the Deuce. Other things to note about Pinehurst, really, if you're going to fly in, you do not need a car. They've got shuttle service that runs you around the property, all the different courses. I played 1 and 6, and as an example, like number 6 was a little further away. I mean, I had driven there anyway because I was actually in Hilton Head for the Golf Week Amateur National Championship, and then I drove up to Pinehurst in North Carolina for the Amateur Players Tour National Championship. And so I had my car, but I honestly ended up leaving it parked the entire weekend because the shuttles, just keep cycling around, can take you to course 1, course 6, course, all 10 of them. So really don't even need a car. So if you're going to fly in, Pinehurst does have shuttle service. So you could basically just have them pick you up from the airport, shuttle you over, and then just get shuttled around from round to round. So there you have it, Pinehurst Resort. And that concludes this week's episode of Chips, Bites, and Flights. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be here all week, and be sure to try the prime rib if you make your way to Pinehurst. Thanks so much. Have a great day. That concludes today's episode of A Good Walk Spoiled, Adventures in Golf, hosted by Scott Ponywise. That's myself. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to like, subscribe, rate it high, and follow us on Instagram at pony_golf to stay in the loop. catch you next time.